Live for show number 90, almost approaching 100. This week's Flippinar, February 28th, last day of the month. We got the full crew here tonight. We have Renikia and Adria for this week's Flippinar. For those of you all the first timers, just make sure what? Because you probably on my account. Okay. So I'll turn it over to Adria.
All right, guys, welcome. As Ty said, I know I haven't been here since before Valentine's Day. So I love you guys. Happy Valentine's Day.
I was here last week by yourself.
Yes.
I know you held it down. We
can watch it later and laugh about it later. Welcome, everyone. Glad you took the time out to join us. We're here every Thursday, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 Eastern, where you join Todd Flipman Taylor and you ask your questions in regards to wholesaling or in general, anything about flipping real estate. We have beautiful Miss Renikia Williams out of Georgia. She's here too to answer your questions. So this is the way it works. You post your questions, I read the questions, they answer the questions. Simple as that. So we're on YouTube, Facebook, on the Flipman page, in addition to Wholesaling Real Estate with the Flipman, and on YouTube. Oh, I said YouTube, and Instagram. I'm on Instagram. So without further ado, let's get this thing started. Let's see where you are, Ty. We're live, show number 90. Let's see who's checking in on YouTube. Ooh, a lot of people. Hiawatha, haven't seen you in a minute. Scott Turner, Devin Gaines, The Rambo, Darren Hodges, and Tanisha. Let's see here. Scott Turner wants to know, how do you reapproach a person who is several years behind on taxes but refuses to sell, no mortgage, and he has lived there since 1973? He ain't going nowhere, is he, Randy?
That's a good question. I'll let Todd follow up. But, in my opinion, if you're behind on taxes, it's really only a matter of time for the city to take it from you. So, maybe just kind of, putting a little fear in him that, hey, it's a possibility that your property can be taken from you. So, this is the opportunity for you to make some money by selling your property before they just take it and you lose your property, and you also lose the money from the sale of your property and the value of your property. So
yeah, some people they just, the reason foreclosures happen is because in most cases, not a lot of times, there are going to be options for them, but they just feel some money gonna fall out of the sky or whatever. So there's nothing you can do about those. Like she said, the only thing you can do is keep following up with them until he tells you not to follow up with them anymore, right? And so, but again, some people just in la land about it. Everybody's gonna handle hardship differently or whatever. So they have, some people just have to literally be put out. So that's how it goes. So only thing you can do, as I said, just follow up until he tells you not to follow up with him. So,
all right, Miss Veronica is with us on Facebook, and she said, Ty, you did a great job last week by yourself.
Oh, good.
Okay, we're so happy to hear that. Craig Prince says, and he's on Facebook as well, he wants you to talk more about mobile homes. I know we mention it every now and again, but wholesaling a mobile home.
Well, the first thing on mobile homes is that you have to understand that they're not going to be treated in houses like a house in a lot of cases, because if land is not included in the property, or is a situation where they're in the mobile home park and they're leasing a lot, then it's going to have to be moved. So that's part of the cost. But whenever you're targeting get a lead on a mobile home or whatever, you need to know the year, the manufacturer, the size of the mobile home. Again, does it have to be moved? And then if you're not sure about a value, because I'm not sure there's a book out there or anything, but what you would simply do is you would call around the mobile home dealers, pretty much in the state if you want, but definitely close as possible to that property, and see, do they buy used mobile homes? And if so, what would they pay for a mobile home with that description? You wouldn't want to give them the location. The reason why is because just like if you were selling a car, a contract, if you put a contract on a car that I'm gonna buy it, that contract is literally worthless because whoever shows up with the cash, and if the owner has title in hand, boom, it's done. Now it's their car. The only thing they have to do is just a bill of sale, sign the back of the title, each one of them. That's the same way a mobile home works. Now, if finances is in place like a car, then it has to be paid off, but you could easily be moved out of a deal. So just putting a contract on the property if land is not attached to it, it really won't mean anything. So in reality, unless you just got a buyer that you can really trust, or the seller doesn't live there and you have access to the property, you're almost going to have to buy it first. So, that's the thing. That's what I was saying all that to get to. You're almost like you're going to have to buy it first. So Renika may have a unique way of dealing with that, but knowing how easy those transactions can happen, ownership can exchange hands in literally 3 to 5 minutes, because you don't have to do a closing like a house.
Right.
See, when a piece of real estate is sold, a new title or deed is created every time a new owner is transfer ownership is done. Whereas a mobile home is just one title unless it's lost, like a car, and you just replace it through the state. So the owner can have that transferable document, that title in hand. Whereas with a house, it doesn't work that way. A piece of real estate doesn't work that way. So,
and I add to that as well. I recently just realized that there is a full market for mobile homes. And I realized that there are some areas that mobile homes are a little bit more normal. What I also realized is that most mobile home parks, the owner of the mobile home do not own the land, they lease the land. So you have to figure out if the mobile home is transferable, because there are mobile home buyers and brokers who buy these mobile homes that can be transferred, and they'll come and pick it up and then they'll transfer it. Now, these are for individuals. The buyer of mobile homes is going to be individuals. I had a client not too long ago who got some land through a tax sale. So they called a mobile home broker to buy a mobile home to put on top of the land, so they can get a residual income. So there is a market for it. You have to find those mobile home brokers and make sure that and see if that mobile home can be transferred. If not, then that's going to be probably a different type of exit strategy. Okay.
All right. Thanks for the input on mobile homes. I hope that gives you a little bit more than what you started out with, Mr. Craig Prince. And Crystal Davis in the house, administrator on the Flippinar group in wholesale and real estate. She says, if you haven't gotten a deal you later, you need to. I would suggest that as well. Let's see here. Going to Instagram, Edwards1994. Hey, can I have the seller sign the assignment contract without knowing how much I make and before I find an end buyer? One-on-one.
Well, the seller's not going to sign an assignment contract. That's what I guess people get confused about that part of it. They're not signing, a seller is not signing an assignment contract. They're signing a purchase and sales agreement that you are purchasing the house. Now, a buyer can sign an assignment contract. I don't normally do it that way or whatever. It's normally a purchase and sales agreement with me and the seller, a purchase and sales agreement with me and the buyer, but I'm still paid via an assignment fee. Now, I know you probably have watched different people talk about this, and you're going to get all types of versions of it. All of it works, so just depending on how you want to go about it, but the seller doesn't sign an assignment contract. They sign a purchase and sales agreement. That's how you gain that temporary control or controlling interest within that transaction for the short time period that the seller and yourself have negotiated. So
I agree.
Okay, so I buy cribs. That's cute. Wants to know, what's the best way to get in contact with owners that have vacant houses? So it sounds like more or less he's looking for absentee owners, maybe give everybody that has the same question on how they can generate these lists or generate leads, period.
Yeah.
Ty.
Well, with the vacant houses, I know people just get so hung up on the vacant house thing because it sounds good. I don't care if somebody's living there or not. You know what I'm saying? Now it does maybe increase the chance, like when you target absentee owners versus owner occupied. Absentee, it does increase your chances of it being a motivated seller. Just like with a vacant house, it may increase your chances of being a motivated seller. But don't just say, I just want to target vacant houses. You just want to target people that own real estate and just hope that their situation has created a motivated seller or whatever. I've done tons of deals where people live there. Either they're rented out to someone, a family member staying there, or they're staying there. I've done those deals. So just don't be narrow focused on vacant houses, in my opinion. But to answer your question, it just goes down to, if you want to target those types of properties, that'll start with an absentee list. I know you can go to, you can use dealyourlater.com, aka PropStream, to generate those types of lists if you want. So that's what I'm going to recommend if you're going to do it. Oh, there are other services out there, but that's what Google is for. That's a good answer.
That was a good answer. It was a long-winded answer.
And send them that postcard.
Yeah. Send them post. I keep forgetting to bring my. Well, I got to go.
So if you are driving for dollars, to add to that, if you are driving for dollars and realize a property is vacant, you will go to the tax records, in the county property records, and you will figure out and determine where is the mailing address of the owner of that property, and you will send them a yellow letter or a postcard showing your interest in the purchase of that property.
All right, there you have it. Hello, Santana, Mr. Zeno, Natalie, James, and Taj. Who shares his name with my great nephew? Hey, Taj. Let's see here. Let's go. We're just gonna go ahead and knock this question out at the top of the hour so we don't get asked it any more. Question: should I start working with a realtor first as a newbie? I live in NYC. Most homes in my area are owned by major real estate agencies. I'm having a journey finding for sale by owners in my area. And let's go ahead and pair. Should I work with a realtor with, should I get a realtor's license? Let's just go ahead and answer the questions in regards to that. Knock it out the park, Nikia. Let them know.
Okay. I think it's not a one avenue type of lane. You know, you're in the business to generate leads, and there's no one way to generate leads. Now, working with a realtor is one way to generate leads, but you got to also realize that every property is on MLS that is associated with the real estate agent. Everyone sees those, so it's a lot more competition. So just understand that you may run into a situation where it's just a lot more competition dealing with realtors and dealing with MLS. However, the same way that the real estate agents find owners is the same way that we teach wholesalers and investors how to find owners. So they're not necessarily owned by real estate agents. They are real estate brokers. They are just being represented. The owners are just being represented by those brokers. But you can also do the same thing as we teach on generating those leads, driving for dollars, yellow letters, absentee owner list, and putting up the banner signs. There's so many ways. You just got to be consistent in doing those lead generating campaigns. Do you want to become a realtor? I would say this. I mean, being a real estate agent has a plus, but it also has its drawbacks as well, because you'll be governed by the real estate commissioner laws and standards, and therefore there's some extra steps you got to take if you want to be an investor and also hold a real estate license. Now, do it help? Absolutely. You know, therefore you don't have to go to another real estate agent or through another real estate agent to get the access to the properties on MLS. You could get them first. So it does have its plus, but it also has its drawbacks.
Okay, before you go to the next question, Adrian, he asked, how can you find out who the owner on that previous question about the vacant houses or something like that?
Pretty much.
And I want to show him just whenever you type in, you go to dealyourlater.com, aka PropStream, type in the address, you go to details, and boom, this is the owner of this actual property. Here's their mailing address. You got comp information. Even if you want to tap into MLS, it's there. There's not many comps here because there's not any sales going on there, which means it may be difficult to move this property. But you have cash buyers you can tap into, foreclosure, pre-foreclosure in that area, whatever. But to answer the question about who owns it, bam, there you go. And it gives you more detailed information about the property. Next question.
Okay, thank you for that. Terrell from Duval, I see you. And let's see who else. James and Jalen, Kaylin, and Jason. Set them off. Let's see here. I want to answer Gambino's question on Instagram. He or she, not sure, wants to know how old do you have to be to flip houses? And because these are contractual agreements, in order to enter in legal and binding agreements in most states, I want to say all states, but most, you need to be 18 years of age. Doesn't mean that you cannot learn this material and go out there. You're just going to have to partner with a legal, by state standards, adult to actually put your deals on the contract. Can we concur?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So don't stop. Don't think you can't do it. Just get you a partner to piggyback. Use your mom, use your pops, use your older sibling or somebody, and to actually do the signing. Okay, so I have a question, and Renikia, I think you can answer this one probably best. Can a buyer use transactional funding to purchase a wholesale deal, making them a cash buyer? Then they switch to their mortgage either simultaneously close or double close.
Can they do it?
There's a lot going on in that sentence, but
okay, let me try it again. Can a buyer use transactional funding to purchase a wholesale deal, making them the cash buyer, and then at some point switch it to a mortgage type?
In the same.
I think he's good. So if you are wholesaling a property, you just wholesaling, you basically flipping paperwork. You're not taking it in possession and getting a mortgage. So yes, you can use transactional funding if you would like to wholesale your property to the end buyer. It'll just be a double closing where you bring the money to the first closing, which is the AB contract between you and the original seller. You would bring transactional funding to that closing. They will bring the money, or the lender will bring the money. You'll be able to close it, giving you full possession. And then simultaneously, you can wholesale it or sell it to your end buyer if you choose to do that. Now, you can double close it and not have to bring transactional funding to the table. Regarding the mortgage, I'm a little confused on why would you have the mortgage in it.
Yeah, I think he's asking, can he use transactional funding to buy it and then get a mortgage right after that to buy it again? I don't know. We're missing something in that. That's the way I understood it, which I don't understand. So yeah, you might want to help us out on that, my man.
Okay. Andre Davis and Miss Sabine, if you're looking at your screen, in order to get a free copy of that one-page contract, and this is for anyone who wants it, you can text the word contract to 833-439-9632. And I know you guys on YouTube can see it, and maybe those on Facebook, but I really did that for the ones that can't possibly see it on Instagram. You can always go back and watch the video.
Or on the podcast. But that's where you can get the contract. Ms. Sabine and Andre, you both asked, can it be used in Florida? Can it be used in the DMV? Yes. Contract can be used anywhere. Ty has used it since the beginning of time. I'm sorry, he ain't that old. But since he first started flipping houses, and it's worked. It's a one-page contract. Don't let it make a break or deal, but it's not going to stop you from getting a deal. I suggest you download it, get your free copy. In addition to that, now we just spoke about transactional funding, and maybe that question confused everyone, but I want to take this moment to make sure we've been on about 30 minutes. Renikia, we've got our
our subscribers are here. Some people are new, and I want you to take this opportunity while we have them focused and they're listening. They want to know what you do. What do you offer?
Okay.
How can they reach you? I mean,
Okay.
where are you?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I am Renikia Williams, the founder and CEO of funding of Fortune Key Financials. And basically what we do is help individuals like you be able to build real estate portfolios by helping you find the resources and leveraging your credit so you can go out there and purchase your fix and flip. You can invest into your wholesale deal, or you can begin to build a rental portfolio. So we're here to provide the resources to help you build your portfolio, such as lines of credit to help with down payment to your first fix and flip, unsecured lines of credit to be able to go out there and invest into your wholesale marketing. And also we provide hard money loans. We have a lot of favorable hard money loans right now where we can defer payments for 12 months. You know, I think that's kind of like heaven for a lot of investors who want to go in and flip their properties. And we have a program that defers payments for 12 months and you pay it on the back end when you flip your property. So it's so many, a lot of opportunities out there for investors who really want to get into the game and begin to either flip properties or invest in rental portfolios. We also have a rental portfolio program to help you purchase, renovate, rent, and refinance into a 30-year amortization loan so you can truly build your portfolios.
All right, guys, there you have it. You can look on your screen there. She has all of her information on how to get in touch with Miss Renikia. We will put that up before we close out the show tonight as well. Benji on Instagram, don't start no mess. I'm reading questions from all the sites. I didn't skip your question. But Benji's questions is, what are your thoughts on virtual wholesaling?
I think it's a good question. I think social media and the internet is kind of bridging everyone together. I think it's very doable with everything somewhat being virtual, but you got to make sure you have boots on the ground. You know, there's only so much you can do virtually. You have to get on the ground, make sure the numbers is the numbers, make sure the rehab amount is the rehab amount, make sure that there's someone that has your best interest at heart while you're not there, someone who's representing you in these locations, who can go out there and talk to these buyers and sellers on your behalf. You just gotta have a solid team. You can do anything virtually, but you have to have a solid team in the area where you're trying to wholesale.
All right, there you have it. Benji, hopefully you heard me and that answered your question. What about fire damaged properties? Wholesaling fire damaged properties. I know you run across those and it could be either be a slam dunk or it can be a true headache. What's your thoughts on it?
It's all about the numbers. I mean, if it still makes sense, it still makes sense. Dollar-wise.
No, that's all about the number. It's just the repair cost. If the repairs exceed, you know, what makes sense, it's it. Maybe we need to be a little more in depth. I know, you know, some fire damage properties are just bullshit.
Yeah, it don't make sense.
It just don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's no different if it's not fire damage. You know, the repair cost, which is normally going to be extensive now for a fire damage property, because a lot of times it's just smoke damage or whatever. And so you got to rip everything out, you know, come back up with all new drywall, new sheetrock or whatever. So, and then the wiring may be ruined because they did spray a little in there or whatever. So that's a lot of cost, you know, so it just depends. It just boils down to the repair, what it's going to cost to repair it. If you're in a $50,000 to $60,000 neighborhood and there's $50,000 to $60,000 repairs, those numbers don't work.
Right.
$300,000 neighborhood and the repairs are 100 and you can get it for 100, they're probably going to work. You know what I'm saying? So it still just boils down to it's just a repair cost. It's just that it may be very expensive to repair compared to normal. But at the end of the day, it's just numbers, as she said.
And then like you said, it's just numbers, and you have to realize the homeowner usually have already been paid for the insurance claim. So
hey, they'll act like they ain't though.
they act like they haven't, but they already been paid. So it allows you to go in and really negotiate those numbers. It's best to give them something, or for them to take something than no one come and purchase the property. So just keep that in mind, that most homeowners have been paid through the insurance company. So you should be able to go in there and negotiate that property.
All right, let's see here. Since we were talking about it's all in numbers, everybody whip out your phones and get your calculators. We got is it a deal question? All right, this is from Lamont Bird. I think he provided us with all the information that we need. Really? I told you to get your calculator out, but God. Okay. Lamont has a property where the ARV is $200,000. He has the property under contract for $110,000. The repairs are $25,000. He has a real motivated seller, he says. He wants to know what should his asking price be for the buyer. Ty, please don't say what's half a zero. And can I discount the property 50% or 20% to get top dollar value?
Oh, he's saying all this, or you reading it?
No, he said that.
Oh.
I'm telling you don't want to hear that right now.
I wouldn't even, okay. I won't do that. I won't say what's.
ARV is 200.
Even at the asking price is still a deal. Because 70% of 200 is 140. Your asking plus your rehab is 135. So I would just negotiate asking as low as you can, but it's still a deal at the asking price of what he's asking. But just going to negotiate it down anyway.
He has it under contract for 110.
Okay.
Oh, well.
5 in repairs and 200. I guess so. We've said it's a deal. You have some room there. You got some room for money to be made. I guess what he wants to know, what the subscribers want to know is, what do you put it out there for? What's that number?
Oh,
if he has it at
contract 110.
Yeah, if he has it on the contract for 110, I would probably put it out there like what do you say? Probably about 129, something like that, or whatever. But I don't expect them to pay that unless it's just a really hot area or whatever. But I'll put it out there maybe 129. What you think, baby girl?
I agree. However, if they really do their number, they probably only pay about 115 for it.
Oh, so you only get 5 out of it, yeah.
Yeah, you get yeah. But if you can go back and negotiate it down a little bit to maybe 100,000, to just kind of increase your spread. So you always, when you put these property on the contract, run your numbers, because your numbers will depend on how much the buyer is really going to pay. So if you run those numbers and you wanted to make 10,000, but the spread really only showing 5, then you know that you want to ask for a lower asking price. So try to run your numbers and work your deal backwards according to as if you was the end buyer. And then you will determine and work into your spread to determine how much is that assignment I can truly make.
All right. So hopefully they help some of you guys. I see some of you guys were saying no deal. That's not a deal, but
it's tight.
It's tight.
It's a deal for an end buyer.
I would run with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I ain't gonna. Yeah, I'll run with that. Yeah, I'll take a $5,000 payday.
What's half zero?
If I can get it every day, it'll be even better. You know what I'm saying? So, most definitely.
Right. I didn't say it officially. I said it.
Adrian said follow instructions, man. I'm sorry.
I don't follow instructions. Okay. Ty and Renicia and myself, Richard William wants us to know he finally did his first deal. Same buyer buying the other 2 contracts he has closing next week. He's signing his 4th contract tomorrow. He says, big up to you ladies and your 1-page contract. He's winning.
Oh, wow.
That's what's up. Hand clap, Mr. Richard.
What's up?
All right, let's see here. Gonna stick with YouTube, and we're gonna go with, what do you do when you have a show me the money type seller? and or a seller that wants you to use their title company. Oftentimes we hear that a buyer wants you to use their title company, but not a seller.
No.
You're giving them too much control of the deal, right?
There you go.
You don't get to control this deal. It's my deal.
You already stepped over the line when you tell me we got to close with who you want me to close with.
Right.
Then you want me to do proof of funds. Motivated sellers just don't. Let's hear the numbers on that deal, Playboy. Or are you just talking hypothetical?
Hypothetical. We'll say hypothetical.
Well, no. I'm talking. It had to be the deal of the century for me to consider any of that. You know what I'm saying? It just don't normally work there. It's normally not going to go in your favor well if you're using their title company. I had to learn that early on in the game. Normally your numbers just ain't what. Motivated sellers just don't operate like that.
Right.
They just don't.
Right.
You got.
And then I'll also add to the whole use my attorney thing. Tell them, hey, I want to go with my attorney because my attorney gives me favorable attorney fees. Unless you're paying all my attorney fees and closing costs, then I may consider it. They're not trying to pay all of that, but tell them that you need to use your attorney because your attorney provides you, favorable attorney fees.
Okay, and you asked him, and he delivered about the.
Also, Ty, what is the site with the free POF?
Oh, it ain't free.
No.
Let's clear that up.
It ain't free. Get a free sample to see what you're But to answer your question, and I don't have an ad for it, I guess I need to make one for realpof.com. REALPOF.com. Realpof.com.
Okay. You asked them what were the numbers.
Yeah, what are the numbers?
The ARV is 125.
Mm-hmm.
Asking 100.
Oh! There's no and
that's why he wants that. He think you're a retail buyer.
Yeah, and a $7,500 rebate. I don't know if you're buying a car or what, but no. See, that's what I'm saying. Motivated sellers don't ask those type of things of you to proof of funds. They don't ask that. Use my title company. Now, sometimes people say, I want my attorney to review your contract. That happens often or whatever. That's fine. And sometimes, and what people have to realize about attorneys, right? They have to justify you paying them. So as simple as my contract is, right? Mm-hmm. Simple as it is, all in this. Well, when I say I'm buying it as is, that gets the seller off the hook. I'm paying all closing costs, minus any unpaid taxes, mortgages, or liens. That's it. That's the deal, ain't it ridiculous? You know what I'm saying?
All
so,
I need you to do is show up.
But an attorney, he gonna mark something on there, blah, 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 because he got to justify that $500, $750 charge you to take 2 minutes to read that Fred Flintstone contract that I have. It's that simple or whatever. But hey, it is what it is. That's the game. That's the hustle. Everybody got to make their bread or whatever. So you want to do that. That's the purpose of making it 1 page. And so it's not intimidating. You whipping out a 10, 11, 12-page contract that an agent or somebody like, who the hell know what all that stuff is? You know what I'm saying? Right. That's when you need an attorney. Even right. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. So I don't even remember what the question was.
We answered it.
Okay.
we
I'll give me high. Turn the fan off.
Give him a fan, y'all. 1 second. Y'all just put them on this box. We ain't got through February yet. Y'all chill out. Lena Tate wants to know why we're talking about the tax being at the closing table. Can you redeem a tax lien at the closing table, or do you have to do it before closing?
No, they'll pay it off at the closing table.
Minus any taxes
they pay everything off. The title company or the attorney will pay everything off. It's all handled there.
Okay. Now let's talk about the contract. Joshua McElroy wants to know, do you need the actual cash buyer to sign the assignment contract before going to closing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Hopefully. So
You need to sign something.
Yeah, you're gonna need to sign a contract. Yeah,
Yeah, you need to
but it
sign
doesn't have to be an
something.
assignment contract. It can just be a purchase and sales agreement as well.
Yeah, you need to sign something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to get committed.
Yeah, that's a great word. You got to have some type of commitment in this relationship, this temporary relationship we're about to have over this house. Got to be some type of documented commitment.
Mm-hmm. So you should have two contracts. You should have a contract with the original seller, and there's another contract with the end
buyer. Mark James said, Ty, he wanted to thank you for sharing the video with the guy that was homeless. Because of that video, I got started and I got my first deal under contract. Thank you. And most importantly, thank you for sharing his story.
Wow.
Oh, I was about to cry.
Right. Yeah.
I ain't gonna cry on this show. Big girls don't cry. I don't cry in baseball. Okay.
That's good, man. That's good. I'm glad it helped, man. Really. I'm glad it helped your situation. Let you know there's other ways to make money or a living besides just making other folks money. So
clocking in on somebody else, getting home, and you ain't got nothing left for yourself. Okay. Lee Sheeran on Instagram. This is about due diligence. What do buyers want you to do before presenting a deal? Now, is it my responsibility or their responsibility?
Well, you can provide them a lot of information about the property just in your ad or whatever, like you send out an email blast or a text blast. The more information you provide, it helps them. It makes it easier for them to be interested or not interested. Saves everybody time. But as far as any due diligence, nothing. You know, you did your due diligence when you find a great deal. They may ask you what you think the repairs are and stuff, but at the end of the day, if they're a seasoned buyer, they're not going to listen to you or whatever, and they're going to do all that stuff themselves. You know, they have to make that own informed decision on the investment and risk they're about to take on. You know, so they just ask you questions, you answer the best way you know how or whatever. So,
I agree.
Gambino, yes. Absolutely correct. So 2 separate contracts, but the same contract. Yes.
Can be.
It works that way. Keep it simple. Keeping it simple. Simple tons. I'm not even gonna say stupid. Okay. Yes. And look, I'm gonna read these last 2 questions, and then I'm gonna tell you what I really think about it. Above Normality wants to know, how will you know if you have chosen the right title company? Maybe once you get a check. Okay. I'm just kidding. That question. And then the next question is going to be, does your one-page contract allow the wholesaler, yourself, to back out if they can't find a cash buyer? So how do you know you got the right title company?
That's a good question. I would say a title company that will do a wholesale deal is the right title company. Who know how to structure your wholesale closing is the right title company. They understand wholesaling, they understand what you're doing, they understand double closing, they understand assignment closings. You got the right attorney. However, you know, you may find another attorney who can do it faster, who just more favorable to what you're trying to accomplish. So, you know, you can find multiple title companies who can do it cheaper and faster, but it's the attorney who can do a wholesale deal and close a wholesale contract. What was the second question?
Piggyback on that one.
Well, yeah, and you have to keep in mind, like Georgia, you all are just an attorney state. Only attorneys can close deals, right?
No, we have title companies.
Oh, so title, y'all can do both?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought it was an attorney. So I think, I don't know what, there are states that only attorneys can close deals or whatever, but Alabama, you can do both also, but that's the only thing I want to add.
Okay, and backing out of the deal, how does the contract, specifically the one-page contract, but we just gonna say any contract, allow the wholesaler to back out if they cannot find a cash buyer? Is that not the time frame that you set? 30 days, 45 days?
Mm-hmm. That's the due diligence clause. The due diligence clause states that if I find anything during my due diligence, that I can cancel my contract without forfeiting my earnest money. So put the right due diligence, the number of days in the due diligence statement to determine how long you have to be able to back out of that contract without forfeiting your earnest money.
Anything?
No.
Now, what I was gonna say, what I said I was gonna say after I said when I read the questions was, y'all worried about the wrong thing. Y'all worried about title companies and buyers. Do you have a deal? Have you done the front end stuff? I know that's important. You want to know where your check coming from.
Yeah, you want to understand the full scope.
I understand you want to understand the full scope of things, but get the first contract. Get the find your deals. Do your lead generations. I'm all about this. It's March. It's about to be March.
Don't you tell people they here to ask questions and trying to get help?
They are here to ask questions. But I'm saying let's get the money before we spend it. The same concept. Get the money before you spend it. So let's get the deal before we worry about. No, you know what? Because a lot of people do work backwards. So,
you just want a general understanding of what you're doing.
That's why we got 370 plus videos.
Well, yeah, that's the next question.
Okay, let's see here. This is a good one. Chantrice, I am gonna say I really did just answer that question maybe like 5 questions ago about virtual wholesaling. It was the exact same question from someone on Instagram. And Baby Mouse is on me today. She with it. She want to know why folks ain't on Instagram because y'all dropping jewels. And she said, ain't no question not worth worrying about. Woo! Got me together.
Yeah. I agree.
She taking it all in. Now she gonna be on here next week with a check in hand. Watch. I'm speaking it on you, Baby Mouse. Let's see here. Rocco Miss, what if you have a deal in place and the buyer wants to visit the property and you don't have the key to show it physically?
Oh, that's going to happen. You just have to deal with it. Somebody told me a long time ago, this was not real estate related. When you got problems in business, you just deal with it or whatever. And dealing with this is if the seller is not going to give you access to the property, or you let them know, hey, I'm going to have to come back over here several times with either contractors or somebody use this term that I like, one of my capital partners or whatever. So what's your availability like, so you have to work around. That's why the virtual wholesaling thing sounds beautiful or whatever. But in those situations where the seller, well, in all situations, well, I guess you could probably get them to put the lockbox on there if you negotiate that. But assuming they don't, that's why you have to have someone representing you or whatever. But in the situation, if it's in your local market, then whenever cash buyers go out, somebody needs to be there to represent you because, you need to make it clear to the buyer, hey, I'm wholesaling this. All price negotiations go through me. You can ask the seller about, this or that or whatever about the house and the history and this, but, you have to make that clear. But that's also important when you go out and inspect the property before you get in the contract or whatever. That's one of the reasons I like to shoot a video up, take it, upload to YouTube. Now I can send it to text or email to buyers, and hopefully it'll get rid of the tire kickers. Once they see the video, they're either going to be not interested or more interested, once they see it. And so when we get out there, again, you have to make sure, whereas you control the seller to get the deal, in these situations, you definitely need to have control of your buyers because even though I still got paid, now this is early on in the game. Matter of fact, my first apartment deal, the buyer and the seller just basically decided what they were gonna pay me.
Oh wow.
Or whatever. I was cool with it because I didn't even think I could move it. I think I still made $5,000 or whatever, but
wow.
they just decided what they were gonna pay me. Because they were talking to each other about 30 minutes without me being there. My dumb self. I learned a valuable lesson then, you know what I'm saying? Before we get out here, we need to have a conversation or whatever. If I don't have that, and especially with an apartment building like something, it was like 8 units. So you're not going to have the keys for that. You know what I'm saying? And so it was a mom and pop operation. He don't need to schedule no tank. Well, I don't know what he needed, but I know what he did. he didn't schedule no time with the tenants. He just said, "Oh, that ain't no problem. I'll go. This is my building. I'm going."
Oh, he's one of them.
Hey, this is my building. He knock on the door and he give them 2 or 3 minutes and they'll come. Maintenance. He turn the knob. That's what I do when I walk in vacant houses and don't know how supposed to be there. That's what I scream out. Maintenance. I didn't make sure I ain't nobody that fit there. I scream out maintenance. So, point being, what was the question? Damn.
Oh, okay.
I think I answered those. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Renee. You got. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's definitely a valuable lesson. I think we all as wholesalers have learned that. Never put your buyer and the seller in the same room too long. And if you can control that, do not put them in the same room. Do not put them at the same closing table. You want to do an hour at a time. However, if it's one of those sellers who is adamant about meeting you there every time, then you want to begin to set that stage. You want to get a very great video of that property. And so these end buyers can begin to determine if they really want it just based on your video. And another thing is, if you have to meet your seller there and your end buyer, you just got to control that. You just got to control it. You got to control that conversation to the T. You got to make sure they don't exchange information, or whatever the case may be. You almost got to set that stage before you get to that property. Say, hey, don't even call him I don't know, but sometimes they may introduce themselves as the owner. You have to figure that out. That's one of those iffy situations you have to figure out.
Mm-hmm. Just deal with it though. You get around it. It ain't just not brain surgery. You know they don't need to be talking without you. You do know that. You don't know anything.
You almost just got to tell the seller, hey, to be honest, I'm wholesaling this. I'm bringing my end buyer by. We're pretty much ready to go. Sometimes you may just have to put it on the table, versus allowing that to come to a head. And, once you get there and then they just start speaking to one another and your end buyer thinking you the owner. So sometimes you have to set the stage one way or the other.
Let's answer Mike's question. Mike wants to know, does the title company basically run anything on you, the wholesaler? His question was, does the title company do a search on me as the wholesaler?
No.
They only run whatever on people that's going to take possession or whatever of the property. Well, with the seller, they have to see what encumbrances or liens or whatever attached to them, but they have to be settled. And if it's a buyer, that could cause you to be held up. If you got some stuff out there, maybe some back taxes or whatever, that could affect you purchasing also.
All right, Baby Mouse, I'm picking on you again. That answer is 100% correct, not 95. Good answer. Let's see here. She answered somebody's question. Let's see here. Yes. Okay. Just wanted to shout out Lee Sharon. His first deal was done on January 11, 2019. He started back in September, and he already has his second contract as we speak. Way to go! Like
111.
Angeline. Okay. Just because it's actually the same question that Baby Mouse just answered for Gambino. I've noticed that you usually use 2 purchase agreements with your deals, one for the seller and one for the buyer. Is that what is considered a double closing?
No, not necessarily. Just Renika, I think, does the same thing that I do. It's just it prevents the buyer from negotiating your fee, knowingly negotiating your fee. They're negotiating a price that works for them, right? And your fee is built into that price. You may have the property on the contract for $1. They don't know that or whatever. So, that's the reason you do it or whatever, is to make sure. It's because if you tell them I want a $10,000 assignment fee, they're going to negotiate a $10,000 assignment fee, but they don't mean they're going to pay that. But if I put it out there, I got in the contract with the seller for $150 and I put it out there at $180, we're negotiating $180. And he may come back and think he's getting a smoking deal at $175. So I just pick up $25 or whatever, but that can flip on you too. They say, hey, I can only do $165. well, I'm sorry, I could do it on 155, and you got it on the contract for 150. So then you have to make a judgment call. Now, my next question is, well, how fast can you close? If the response is, as soon as we can get a clear title. So we're talking 5-7 days max, probably, unless there's an issue with the title. So then the pressure's on me. Do I want to be greedy? I get more? Or go with this cat? Now, if it's somebody I've never done business with before, well, let me just say this. If it's somebody I've never done business with before, and from conversations, and they say, well, we're trying to buy as many as we possibly can. I'll probably take that $5,000 just because I look at it, you just paid me $5,000 to be added to my buyers list. I'm sure I'm going to do more deals down the road. That's the way I look at it. So, whatever.
Okay. She
agrees. No opinion?
She agrees.
Okay.
Okay, so let's tackle this. Two things I want to make sure we cover before we close. We talked about mobile homes. We talk about how they're different and how they relate more to cars than, they can, depending on your location. But land, can you explain the process of wholesaling vacant lots?
Well, I'm just sort of getting into that.
And or finding the value. So
I'm getting into it, but from a different approach. But to answer your question, and I'm sorry, I got introduced to this. What's ironic about this? What's amazing, you can't go beyond what you don't know. But sometimes it's right in your face, and it's been in your face all your life. Where I grew up at, buying and selling land is more of a thing than actually buying and selling houses. They're sitting on land, obviously, whatever. And I never, thought about it like, man, what the hell you gonna do with that? You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Ain't nothing out there,
Right.
Good to have some value because it has timber on it, or whatever, a lot of value. And so, as a matter of fact, a property I have on the contract right now, the selling, I had like almost a 2-hour conversation, and it just came up that he grew up buying and selling land with his father, and so he just I'm like, man, how many deals I've not even called back because they said they just had land for sale. So now getting the value of land can be difficult. A lot of times it's just going to be difficult. It just depends on where it is, if it's commercial, residential, how much it is, what's on it. You know what I'm saying? All that'll factor in with land. But it is something I'm highly pursuing. I've even spent money to advertise specifically for land on Google, in the state of Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and Mississippi. And I'll extend it out, as things go on. And I actually put my first property on the contract in Florida. When was it? Tuesday? 6 acres of land. Anybody want it? $18,000. Hit me up if you want it.
6 acres for $18,000.
Yeah. So and so so I'm in it, but I don't think I'm answering your question. But the simple thing you can do is look at the market value and probably just go half or less. Whatever when I say market value, I mean what is the county assessing that property for, and half or less. That's the easy way to do it. And the other great thing about land, now you don't have to show it or whatever. They can just go out there if it's vacant land or whatever, no house or nothing, nobody's there. They just go out there and look at their own leisure or whatever they need to do their due diligence on. So now you don't have. That's the one thing that's obvious about is that you don't have to show land. They can just go out there at their own leisure and nobody has to be there or whatever. So there you go. And then you can owner finance it too. Remember that you can set it up and you can get land, a lot of land, and you can owner finance and then turn around and wrap that owner finance it to someone that wants to buy it from you to pick up some monthly cash flow of just land or whatever. Because people use it for hunting. Obviously, there can be redevelopment, which that's a whole nother ball game in itself. But just the value of it, as I said, I would, just go with what the assessed value is with the count in half or less. To be honest. So, well, what you think, Bree?
No, I totally agree. It's hard to find the value of land. So I usually just reference the tax value because the tax records kind of they give you the value of the land in the tax records, and they give you the value of the property. So I usually just reference the tax assessor's website for that particular property, and just kind of go from there.
All right. Drew said, what part of Florida?
Sewanee County, I think I'm pronouncing that right. 40 miles northeast of Gainesville.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about repairs. How do wholesalers come up with the repair costs when trying to get a house under contract and getting the right number? Do you need to take somebody out there with you first couple of times? I know we talked about the round up. Do you need to have a contractor on payroll? How do you come up with the repairs?
You said it, but go ahead though.
I did? Really?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to build your team. Well, somebody in your team. I think eventually when you start going to so many houses, you're going to eventually begin to go into a house and you know exactly, this is going to cost me 10 to 20. This is going to cost me 30 to 50. So I think when you first starting off, it's really good to maybe have some type of contractor on your team who will be willing to provide the estimate, the repair estimate for that particular property. Usually if they know, if your contractor know you're not going to buy that, they may like brush you off. So try to make it easy for them, you know, shoot a nice video, take a lot of great pictures, and see if you can just email it to them and say, hey, can you look at this property and tell me how much to repair, how much it will be to repair this property. But if they're willing to come out, have them to come out and ask them questions. Pretend that you are the buyer. Pretend that you are the end buyer. Ask them questions on why you say it's going to cost me $10,000 to renovate this kitchen. You know, what exactly you going to do? You know, whatever the case may be. But when you first starting off, you want to ask your contractors as many questions as you can so you begin to estimate your own repairs.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. You'll start going and be like, oh, that roof, $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
That carpet being pulled up.
And it's an estimate. It's up to your end buyer to confirm it. If I say it's gonna cost me 10 to 20, because that's what my contractor said, but your contractor say 30 to 40, okay, I'm sorry, my contractor giving me a deal. So at the end of the day, it's my numbers versus your numbers.
You want my contractor number? Because yours just
right. Now they looking for your contractor. But it's your numbers versus theirs. So it's up to them to really go out there and confirm the estimates of their own repairs.
But I would like to also pinpoint, you know how a lot of people ask about, should I get the title search ran before wasting my time? You don't expect these contractors to go out here and do these appraisals and stuff for free, right?
Well, they will. You can get them out there maybe a couple of times.
Sometimes.
And then they be like, no.
You ain't bought the last 5 times.
You ain't about to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing when you're dealing with a real estate agent. You might get them to pull some comps a few times on the property, and they never get paid in some form or fashion. Nah, your numbers, your calls and text messages stop getting returned.
So those first 2 times you get them out there, you need to ask questions and learn. So
Right.
That ain't brain surgery. Like I said, you're just doing $5,000 and $10,000 increments or whatever. You go out there a couple of times. Well, I'm sitting there thinking about, I'm gonna get this idea away or whatever, because there's enough money out there. If I was a contractor, and it seems like it'd be a lot of struggling contractors too, don't it? Sometimes.
They can't find no work.
Well, you know why they can't find no work? No, not that. Because them jokers be then screwed, and they can be.
We ain't gonna talk about that.
You know,
these contractors
but they can't find work because they screw people. You know,
exactly.
A good contractor should turn business down.
I can't do that.
I can't even take on them because it's so hard to find them. But I'm sure you, Renika, from your bandit signs or whatever, they call you, hey, you got anybody fixing your houses for you? If you calling me, we already on the, you know what I'm saying?
Vet your contractors. Contractors out here screwing people. Vet your contractors.
Yeah, but what I was about to say is that if I were a contractor, and a lot of them probably don't, well, some of them do, because I talk to people that know I do work or whatever, but if I ran into this wholesale thing and I was in a city, well, I think Birmingham may be large enough, but definitely somewhere like Atlanta, I may well just put out, because there's so many people trying to get into wholesale and they don't know about repairs and stuff. I may just put out bandit signs, say, repair estimates on houses, $100 or something. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Wow.
they could probably make $2-3 grand a week. You know what I'm saying? Just doing estimates. You know, just the hunger for people to get into wholesaling. And that's one of the biggest hangups is most people can't figure out repairs, or they're afraid to, go into it and think they're right. They're like, they think it's just one number. You know what I'm saying? No, like Nikki said, she may say 10 to 20. The other guy may say 30 or 40. You know what I'm saying? There's no one number. You just need a ballpark, to see if you have an opportunity or not.
Ain't nobody tell you to use that $200 faucet, that $50 faucet.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they could.
I got my faucet wholesale. See, I mean.
Yeah, but I think they can run a whole business like that. You know what I'm saying? Just send me a video and cash out me $50. And I'll tell you what I think it costs.
Because honestly, that rehab, it makes or break your assignment fee.
Oh,
if your rehab budget is a lot off, or whatever the case may be, or you didn't add it in, and that could eat up your assignment fee. So it's kind of you almost gotta go into that property and have a good eye on that rehab. At least a ballpark.
Benjamin Bank, I love this information. I just lost my job and need something else to fall back on. That's my brother. I appreciate this.
Oh man,
so hard.
Sorry to hear that.
Maybe a blessing.
No, it's not a job loss. It's the door is closed for a reason. So put all your energy into something that can really bring value. That can't fire you.
Yeah, they can't
start your own business. You can't get fired.
Only thing can fire you is your efforts or lack of efforts.
Exactly. A lack of efforts. Let the door close. Sometimes let that door close.
Yeah.
Yes. And come here every Thursday.
Go out there and make a check. Pick up your $7,500, $15,000 check, and then just go in front of the job and
buy everybody lunch.
And then
exactly.
Which one? When you
that's number one.
Oh, and just go out and do it number one in front of the job.
Exactly. Sometimes you don't know how strong you are until you forced to be strong.
Oh yeah. Like one of my friends, which I don't have any kids, but one of my friends, now he can sell dirt to an ant or whatever, but when he trains people in the sales business or whatever, this is what he'll tell them. He said, if your child life had to depend on it, could you go out there and sell this policy?
Hey, I'm about to sell it. Somebody gonna buy this policy today.
Oh my God. Oh, my father with him, I nearly starved to death before I got into real estate, thinking I can go out and sell pre-arrangements. If you don't know what pre-arrangements are, that is when you go to a funeral home or a grave, what they call it, a cemetery, and you can buy. You can buy your plot. You can pick out the casket you want. And the reason that you would do that is it's a smart investment. Most people don't like to deal with their mortality or whatever they call it. Yeah. And so because you're locking it in today, I'm giving y'all the sales pitch right now.
Right.
You're locking it in today's prices, right?
Easier for your family.
And so it makes it easier on your family because whenever someone passed in your life, you're making a big financial decision at your weakest moment emotionally. You can be easily taken advantage of, and they do. Funeral homes and whatever. You out there listening, it is what it is. You're probably not listening because you make too much money to mess around with what we're talking about.
Right.
Because you know what I'm saying? Because and then I want mama to have the best. Mama might not really would have wanted that, but y'all never talked about it. You know what I'm saying? And so if you go ahead and buy that stuff, prearranged, that may be 25 years from now. So you bought it at 20, they'll do payment arrangements, but you bought it at 25 years before versus what the rates will be 25 years, forward or whatever. So but anyway, so that's what we used to do is go do that. And see, I just knew him when I was in college. We were just gambling buddies and just run his mouth. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that when we got into somebody's home, he turned into a beast. He make them feel stupid if they can do it.
All right.
But
that's a good salesman right there.
You walk out this house, your child right there.
But in a good way. and he was cashing $2,000 checks every week, and I would go weeks without getting a check. From February of 2001 until the end of July of 2001, I made a grand total of $7,000. I nearly starved to death. If it wasn't for him and the girl I was dating at the time, when she used to get her check, she used to ask me, how much you want out of this?
Oh, wow. Sometimes.
Oh, your boy was in a low place. So when 9/11 happened, 2001, 9/11, I was unemployed. I had to quit, unemployed, laying in the bed, feeling sorry for myself. And that's when the plane, I was watching the news, and you will know one of the planes went into the building in New York. And then they have footage, then another plane. Oh, that's not an accident. So I thought to myself at that time, I said, oh, this what I'm worrying about ain't nothing. It's some people got it way worse than what I got it right now. You know what I'm saying? So I got the perspective. That's a good word for it. So anyway, I got off on my Elmwood days in the cemetery. Oh, I was horrible at it. Horrible. Wow. And he was a beast getting to. And hey, wait a minute, just to add this to it. The way they would give out your money on Fridays, the manager, he would go pass out checks to everybody that got checks. And you would know who was getting paid or who wasn't.
Oh my God.
So you weren't getting any checks.
Oh, it'd be pitiful. This joker get $2,000 checks every week. And I was getting zero in most weeks. I get one maybe once a month. And it'd be like $700.
That one your hustle.
That one my hustle. Oh my God. Oh.
You gotta know your lane. Know your lane.
You gotta know your lane. That's what's up.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
You done?
I'm done.
You done?
I'm done.
Jesus. But you know what? You mentioned that. I'm just gonna say my papa, all of he got my grandma, him, my mama, me. We already laid out in what's the cemetery. Wow. Okay. I used to wonder why my grandma used to go every third Saturday to Fred's Floors and sell. I'm like, we were going to the flower shop.
Going to pay her
plot, her cemetery.
Wow.
Pay for it. I know where I'm laying when I'm gone.
Wow.
I nobody, but
right. And just to add down, this is a financial.
But then you can sell them though.
Yeah, you can do that too. But to add to that, us as I know more than black people watching this, but that's where I'm gonna go. We use life insurance to bury folks. Life insurance is not supposed to be used to bury people. It's used for the living. It's supposed to be used for the living. They have other type of financial lanes you can go in to pay for all that. Yeah, to pay for all that stuff before it happens. But we use life insurance to do that. So I just
if we have life insurance.
And not all of us, but most of us.
But that's why you should be building generational wealth for your children. And the best way to do that is how, Renikia? Tell them.
Oh, best way to build generational wealth? Well, I would say, there's so many ways to build generational wealth. We have to understand, and I'm just going to briefly say this, it's 5 asset classes. It's only 5 asset classes that will lead to building generational wealth. It's business ownership, it's real estate, it's paper assets. Your life insurance is very important. Life insurance is not just for death anymore. You can actually create like a savings account in your life insurance and borrow against it at less than 1%. It's 10 times better than going to the bank and asking the bank to borrow money and they put a 20% interest rate on there. You can create your own bank, act like a bank, think like a bank. Stocks and bonds. There's only 5 asset classes. So I encourage you, real estate to me is one of the number 1 asset classes, and also business ownership to begin to build generational wealth outside of your job. We cannot pass our jobs down to our kids and begin to start thinking different our money and investing our money in the assets that can build residual income like a real estate portfolio.
So we've been on a soapbox here that had nothing to do with this, so whatever. So with all that being said, we're gonna end it up right now.
I do that.
I'm about to burn up. Literally. So anything you ladies want to add before we end
This
it?
is the last day of February. Tomorrow is March.
This not a leap year?
No, it's not a leap year.
Okay.
This year is already with not too late to get started. I'm gonna put it out there. Some of y'all done got some tax going.
That's right. Tax money.
What you gonna
I
do
got a
with it?
video probably gonna come out tomorrow where one of my students, well, he already had been doing deals, but he texted me a picture of a check for 17 big ones. We did an interview today, so it should come out, next couple of days or whatever. So look forward to that.
So
he provided some really good information.
I love that.
Yeah.
We'll be looking for that video. And in the meantime, you guys can watch any one of the 370 plus videos that are available to you on YouTube. We'll be back here next Thursday. Go ahead and get your hustle on. Read, binge, grind, stack. That's your motivation right there. And good morning next week. We'll be here. We'll see you on the flip side, guys.
Bye-bye.